So minimalism isn't just about owning less. I mean, that is a big part of it, but it's also just about simplifying everything in life. And something I think people overcomplicate so much is fitness and their fitness routine. The more complicated you make it, the less likely you are to stick to it. So I thought I'd share kind of how I break down my fitness and how I stay on top of it. So I divide it up into kind of 3 different areas, and it makes it much easier to stay on top of. So the first area of fitness is strength training. And I think this one's super important and not enough people do it. I used to strength train a lot when I first started going to the gym. I was like locked in. I'd go before work at like 5 a.m. But now I've cut down a lot. I probably go 3 times a week on average, but sometimes it's only once. Like I didn't go at all last week, I was away. And sometimes it's more like 4 times a week. But I really don't think you need to put too much pressure on yourselves. As long as you're going at least once a week, ideally 2 or 3 times, you're fine. And when you're in the gym, you do not need to be there longer than an hour. The only times I'm there over an hour is if I'm sitting on my phone for far too long in between sets. I usually do 4 or 5 exercises, never any more than 3 sets for each exercise, and then I'm out. There's no point hanging about in there. I am a big fan of gyms. I think they're fun, and I like having external weights to pick up. But you don't have to do the gym. You can also do body weight exercises. Yoga, Pilates is still strength training. And calisthenics, I think, is a big one that I want to do a bit more of. But yeah, this doesn't have to be an expensive gym membership. My gym membership's like £20 a month. It's not very much. I'm aware some people don't have access to loads of cheap gyms near them. But if you are going to look for a gym, the number one thing, other than if it's within your budget, is the location of it. Just make sure it's really close by and easy to get to. Because if this gym is miles away, you're not going to go. I don't care how fancy it is or how cheap it is. If it's so far away, you're not going to go. And for those that don't want to go to the gym, literally buy yourself a pull-up bar, put it in your door frame, and just try learn how to do pull-ups. Strength training's number 1. I love it. The aim is to just progressively overload each week and get stronger each week. Don't complicate it with millions of different exercises. There's definitely under 10 exercises I do at the gym within the week, like upper and lower body. I don't do more than that. Just find the lifts you like, stick to it, stop changing it all the time. You just need to get stronger in the lifts you pick each week. It gives you muscle, and that's actually just good for longevity. The stronger you are and the more muscle you have, the less likely you are to fall and fracture yourself. If you're older, if you're over 50 especially, you need to be strength training. Next is cardio. Cardio, love and hate cardio. My favourite form is running, just because it's so easy and you don't need any equipment and you just go on a run. If you're not a runner at all, I started by doing Couch to 5K. It was made by the NHS, I believe, so UK's healthcare system. It's great. It's just a thing you listen to, and it teaches you how to literally go from someone that has never run before to someone that can run a 5K. I think it's over about 8 weeks. I did it ages ago, I can't quite remember, but it's really nice and structured, and you run a couple times a week. I think it wants you to run 3 times a week, but you don't have to do that. You can run once or twice a week and just slowly build on it. So definitely would recommend that for any new runners. And then once you're running 5Ks, that's the tricky bit. That's where I kind of plateaued and stopped a bit. People be signing up to half marathons and marathons left, right and centre. I haven't hopped on that train yet, mainly because everyone's doing it right now, so I'm just like not going to do it. I don't want to be a sheep. But I think park runs are really good. They're just Saturday morning, 9 a.m. runs with everyone. If you don't have a park run, just join a run club. They're free. I did that when I was living in Sydney. It was so classic Sydney. It was like a Bondi run club along Bondi Beach, which was so nice. I went with a friend as well, which gave me more accountability, so we'd go there together because it was an unearthly hour of the morning. We had to get up at about 4:30 or 5 a.m. There are places to do runs in the evening or a bit later in the morning, like you don't have to commit to a psycho hour. That was just us getting in the swing of Australia. But yeah, I think run clubs are really good. They're usually 5K. Also, there's so many other things in running. I think sports is a big one. I love a bit of tennis. It makes you exercise without thinking you're exercising because you're concentrating on the sport. I mean, I love surfing. That's a huge cardio, but obviously that's not a luxury I can do all the time. Same with tennis. I don't have access to a tennis court all the time. So running, I just think, is an easy one that anyone can do. But yeah, just something that gets your heart going quite a lot. Dance classes, I would so join that. I need to probably involve myself in some more classes because they're included at my gym, but they're always good. Just basically getting your heart rate up, sweating a bit. It's good for you, it's good for your heart health. And finally, which I think is the most important one, is my third category, which is a sort of cardio as well, but it's more natural, organic cardio. Natural movement throughout the day. I'm sat down working on my laptop a lot of the day, so I'm quite lazy. I try and incorporate as much natural movement as possible by walking everywhere and cycling everywhere. Also, things like gardening can be quite intensive exercise if you've got a garden. Just kind of natural movement where you wouldn't really count it as exercise, but I actually think it's one of the main ones. Walking so many steps is so good for you. It's so hunter-gatherer to walk, like ooga booga. It's literally what we're designed for. Get your steps in. I know people are a bit obsessed with like getting 10k steps, but I'm kind of a fan of the trend. Try and get as many steps as possible, walk as much as possible. I have a little bike and I cycle everywhere as well because something's a bit far away to walk. I cycle to the gym, to the shops, to work. The only time I don't cycle is if it's really far away and I really don't want to be sweaty when I get to the destination. Basically, I try and cycle and walk everywhere and avoid trains, tubes, buses. My bike is a piece of shit. My mother got it for me ages ago and I think she said she paid about £50 for it secondhand, and so I think it's probably worth about £10 now, which is a nice feeling because it makes me a bit more relaxed when I lock it up and I'm like, no one's gonna steal this bike. But it's sick, it's purple, it's really cool. I probably do need a better one. I think it's slightly small for me, but it does the job. It gets me cycling. So yeah, walking and cycling everywhere is just so much cheaper in the long run. I'm rarely paying public transport or any petrol or anything. So it's good for your bank, it's good for the planet, and it's good for you. Come on, was that not a good sales pitch? So yeah, those are my 3 areas. I would say there's a subcategory that I don't personally do, but you could add on a 4th area, which is flexibility, which I think is really important, but I just don't do it. I'm someone that's naturally not very flexible, so it's not very appealing to me. I do try and stretch at the end of my gym sessions. However, I really don't do it for very long. It's something I need to work on more. My carbs are so tight, and I think it's bad for my foot health. But yeah, those are basically the 3 areas. You can add on flexibility if you want. Just think of it as strengthening muscles is exercise. So you got your skeletal muscles and you got your heart muscle. It's keeping you alive. Also, another note on exercise, which I think is so important, is mental health. They've done a huge study recently looking at all the different methods for treating depression. Number 1 thing that came out, exercise. Exercise is so good for mental health. I know that I feel better after I exercise, and that's really what keeps me going. The more times you show up and the more times you exercise, it's a positive feedback loop. A lot of the time I don't want to go exercise, but I go because I've done it so much now that I know how good I feel afterwards. It's that delayed gratification. That's how I simplify it as a minimalist. Sorry, I was rambling. On that note, I'm going to have my cup of tea and head to the gym. I hope I've simplified that for you. And remember, you don't have to start with all 3 and just start with 1 and then build up on it. But I would recommend doing all 3. They're great. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a lovely day and I'll catch you in another video. Goodbye.